Good afternoon, you guys. Today I'm talking about part 2, and part 2 is going to be about my pregnancy and sort of my pregnancy and getting pregnant after all the surgery. If you haven't watched the first video, part 1, I'll link it up here in an iCard. So just click on the I and then the video should come up and watch that video, and then this one will make sense, sort of all about the surgery. So after I had the surgery, I don't really know the time frame, unfortunately. I think it was about 6 months. Yeah, about 6 to 8 months. So I stopped uni and I recovered from the surgery, and then we kind of decided, right, Brad and I decided there's a big lull in sort of what I'm doing at the moment. You know, I haven't found like a full-time job. I was still working for Brad's parents doing the laundry at that point, but you know, I hadn't sort of gone into something else, maybe doing admin or something. So we had a discussion of maybe trying for a family. We weren't sure what it was going to be like. Before having this operation, I'd previously had a cyst on my ovary before that as well. So I was sort of prone to getting cysts. I'm not sure why, but I just am. Not anymore, but anyway. So little did we know, at this point in our lives, Brad's parents actually had a little bet. They had a bet on us, saying that they would expect us to have a child by the end of 2016. Yes, 2016, that was last year. We didn't even know this, but they had that discussion, which is quite ironic because they obviously know us quite well. My parents had absolutely no idea. I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want to tell anyone, because I didn't even want people to get excited and then potentially there being issues in all of this. So we tried for 1 month. For 1 month on my first sort of, on my phone I had this app called Clue, and it you fill in a little bit of information each day and it sort of tells you, so you tell the app, you know, what you're feeling, what you're craving, all of these kinds of things, and then it calculates where you actually are in your cycle. It works for some people, it doesn't for some. Some people don't ovulate when that happens and some people do. It all depends. So this app worked for me. And so I filled in my data for ages, and I went off the pill when we started trying. I was a little bit gutted because I took tests before I was even due to get pregnant, because you know you get pregnant at a certain time in your cycle, and so I took pregnancy tests before then. I shouldn't have done it, and I was so gutted. I was like, oh, it's never going to happen, rah, rah, rah. And little did I know that the average time to fall pregnant is about a year. So I didn't actually know that, and then I felt quite upset knowing that it could take up to a year, because I was like, goodness gracious, I can't just wait here a year trying to get pregnant. You know, I had to sort of move on. At this point, it was time for us to go to Australia for Christmas to visit my family in Perth. So this was the first time we did it as a married couple, like went to Perth as a married couple. And that's all good and well. We didn't tell my family because we didn't want like anyone just keep on asking. We sort of just wanted to keep it quiet. 2 days before we left, I brought pregnancy tests with me, and I was like, look, I'll just try it. Okay, so I sneaked into the bathroom very quietly, did the test, and here's me, silly me. I weed on the stick, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, not pregnant. I went back into the room and kind of just put it on Brad's bedside table. He was still in bed, and I went out to the lounge, and I didn't really think much of it. I was just like, yeah, of course it's not going to happen. And at this point I actually went to a doctor's visit, and someone said to me, you know, oh, it can't happen that fast. But you know, I knew in the back of my mind that it would. I knew at this point I would be able to tell my family in person that they were going to be aunts or grandpa or grandma, you know. I knew that would happen. I took the test, and Brad called me from the room, Mickey, come here, kind of thing. And I didn't hear, and then Mum actually came to me and said that Brad's calling me. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went there, and Brad's like, you're pregnant. And we had to do this in silence. And I was like, oh my gosh, so excited. And I remember throwing myself into the bed and like kicking my legs. There was so much excitement. So that morning, Brad and I trained into the city, into Perth City, and we went to Target. And we bought a little baby girl, it was a preem size, and we wrapped up the pregnancy test in the clothes, and we went home. We gave it to my mother, and everyone was around, and we said, here, this is just a present to say thank you for having us. And that was all good and well. So Mum opens it, and then she's like, what the heck is this? As she does. And so she opens it, and then she literally just unravels it, and she starts screaming. And Dad and Tash and Jade are just like, what the heck? And then they all look down and they see it, and it was just so much excitement. It was so wonderful, and my mother screamed of excitement. She was so excited. And then, so that's all good and well, and then we went to the pharmacy just by my parents' place, and we bought one of the clear blue ones where it says, it kind of like lights up and it shows you, sort of, it gives you a guesstimate of how many weeks you are, and definitely it says definitely yes or no on the test, and I was 4 weeks at that time. And so we flew home, and it was so exciting. So we flew home, and a couple of weeks later we had to strategically time the scan. So Brad's father is a sonographer, and he does ultrasound, so we went to his business. We asked the staff to book an appointment for me. We made a little white lie. We said, oh, it's just because the doctor wants to see what how my ovaries were doing with the cysts that were attached to it and everything. So that's all good and well. And we walk into the room, and Mike was scanning us because we specifically asked for him. It was so funny. He was trying to act surprised, but he kind of wasn't, I don't think. Because we walked in, he was like, oh, what are you doing here? We're like, oh, we're getting a scan, a pregnancy one. And he's like, oh, congratulations. But he knew. We actually spoke to him a few weeks ago, and we asked him whether or not he was surprised. He said absolutely not, but I tried to act surprised. So that was that. It was quite cool. We went back to Brad's parents that evening, and we told his mum. His mum was excited, and yeah, it was quite cool. Moving on. Pregnancy symptoms, I had none. I wasn't sick the first trimester. I was extremely exhausted though, and that's very normal. I just wanted to sleep. I was so tired. I did not like meat. I did not like any meat at all, and vegetables. I was like, nope, that was not happening. And that's very strange for me because of the fact that I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, and I didn't want any of that. And so moving on, before I move on, I essentially the whole pregnancy only ate peanut butter on toast. Obviously I ate other things, but that was all I wanted. And now I don't really like peanut butter because I ate so much of it when I was pregnant. I don't know what happens to you, but that's what happens. And then the second trimester, I got better, and there's not really much to say about my pregnancy. No, there was nothing wrong with me. I didn't get sick or anything. But after that scan, we went away for a worship retreat. I actually had a cyst on the ovary, and I was very worried. And while we were away, that cyst burst, and I was so worried. No one knew I was pregnant. I just had to go outside because I was in so much pain. If any of you have had a cyst burst on you, the fluid is incredibly sore, floating all around. It was so sore. And so it was quite a rush to get home, and our good friend Laura, she drove us home, and I went to hospital and had a scan, and I was fine, the baby was fine. So that was a little bit of a hiccup, but other than that it was great. Went in, Mike asked us if we wanted to go for 4D scans, and we went in, and I'll insert a picture here of the 4D scan. Selena hid her face though, she hid her face for a lot of the scans, but that's okay because we have her now and we can see what she looks like. But it was very special, especially getting scanned by Brad's father. It was a very special time, getting scan, and Brad's family coming each time and us Skyping my family when we went in for a scan. Mike actually knew at 12 weeks what gender Selena was, so he knew that she was a girl, and he is so good at his job he didn't even tell anyone. Leonie didn't know, and definitely none of the staff, so no one knew except Mike. And this whole time both Brad and I, well more me, I was like, yes, it's a boy, it's a boy, it's a boy, it's a boy. That's all I thought, you know. I don't know whether or not it was because I tried to persuade myself that it was a boy so I can sort of mentally prepare, because I come from a family of girls, well obviously they're my father, but you know, I don't really know how they work. I don't really know how to bring up boys, so I was like, okay, I'm going to mentally prepare for a boy, and if it's a girl, great, I know how they work because I'm a female. And then we found out at 20 weeks that she was a girl, and I started crying because I was just, you know, when you're pregnant you have a lot of crazy hormones that go on. It's a bit crazy, a lot of people have to put up with you, but it's okay. We got there. It was pretty cool. Really cool. So that was my pregnancy. I'll show you a few photos of, I'll see whether or not I feel like showing you these photos. I am in sort of my bikini I took a photo a week of me from being 4 weeks pregnant. I think not quite up to when I was due, but pretty close to it. So I'll see whether or not I want to put a few photos up there. But yeah, that was my pregnancy. I had no symptoms really. I did have a few sort of fake labours that came on, but I will talk about my labour in another episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. This one's a lot shorter, very simple. My pregnancy, no hiccups other than the cyst, and it was absolutely wonderful. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!